It has been a wild day today in the crypto market. We just saw the price of Bitcoin popping to 30,000 and then starting to drop back with all that news, volatility, and everything. On the short term, it did feel like that. But what the hell is actually happening behind all of this? That is something really important, because if you actually take your eyes on that and try to understand what's happening, there is a trend line. You broke that before all these news came in, before all this stuff actually started playing out. You had this breakout. You retested that and bounced off. With that, you got this news, the fake news, you popped, that kind of stuff. But look at the volume here. I think that tells a lot more than all of this volatility happening here, because you have to take that volatility and put it into the right place. Yeah, for sure, you'll have to zoom in, look at what's happening on a micro level, and what are the odds. Yeah, you may actually see this, but what the hell is actually happening on a macro horizon? That matters, because if you are to look at XRP and say, yeah, we talked about XRP BTC, you told this is going to go up. Instead, Bitcoin went up, which means XRP BTC took a hit. We came back to this trend line support. That's what's happening here. Right now, what does that actually mean? For us to understand if this is possible in XRP, can XRP bounce off like this? That means we first need to have a basic understanding of what XRP is doing and what Bitcoin can actually give us. Because we've been taking this idea and sharing it over the time with all these ideas. Shared every time and followed it through as the price was breaking, as we were getting the idea of what's happening, and while we reach that level of support. So if you understand that, from that time we've been sharing this. This is a macro support level and this is happening. Now we are here. What does that mean for the crypto market and especially XRP? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. As we went through, we followed all of these up to give you guys the right idea. Now, what exactly is happening in the market? Because if you look at it on the technical side, you need to understand the psychology of the market. Then you actually go look at what's happening on the macro front. Dollar is most likely making a double top, which is actually favorable for crypto market. If that's to happen, that means crypto market gets more upside. You're watching this on the gold. Instead of confirming that to the upside, it is breaking back down as a fake out. Most likely that's going to be a retest and a bounce on the RSI. That is possible. Now you go look at the Bitcoin with the Bitcoin dominance, and you get to see this as a trend line. That's interesting, because each time you do this, Bitcoin price actually goes back up. So you were about to bounce off and all this news narrative played out. And while that's playing out, you need to keep your eyes focused on stuff like this. I mean, that's important. Look at what JP Morgan has to say about gold and Bitcoin. Now, this does matter with respect to that of real money coming into the safe haven. Because if you are looking at it on that way, now you're watching the fact that yes, there is a lot of money coming still into the gold, but look at Bitcoin, it's still holding on to that range. As the price went up, it still went up. Still, people are more and more moving into that direction. That kind of shows you the amount of money which is really interested in jumping on this. That's a lot of money, which is right now considering generational wealth is to be built on crypto. They're moving into that. Because on the other end, you're watching how the economy is moving. You're literally understanding this is the truth. Right now, treasuries are getting a hard hit because of the interest rate fluctuations. And then you come on to watch what the BlackRock CEO actually come out and say. Okay, now he says it's a flight to quality, but here, Jenny, we actually highlighted the fact that look at this. 2017, this guy was actually saying that's used for money laundering. So I'm like, okay, back then they wanted to scare the market. Now they want us to buy. So they're already in, they already bought it. So imagine they average is somewhere around 22,000, 20,000, whatever. They want us to buy, push the price up. Do you think they're going to let us ride it to 200,000, 500,000? I doubt so. Maybe 80, maybe 100, maybe 120. By that time, they are in decent profit, and by the time the price actually moves above the all-time highs, people are in FOMO, the market is, euphoric, they enter in, they get trapped there. These guys take the profits and dump the market back down. That is the most likely scenario in my opinion. Now, we come back on the technical side. When we actually look at this, we do understand the fact that this is the crypto market. We have a lot of volatility. We're watching a lot of other coins doing great, some of them running up. Volatility is high and heavy in the market. We're watching, different assets running through. So if you take a look at Holo here, you'll see it's already up 40% for the week. And before this started, we highlighted the fact that, watch this. The volume was through the roof and the price was still there. And the RSI was trending to the upside. And I'm like, okay, that does mean something. Now, we are already halfway through that. So this is the target, this is the pattern which is happening. So yes, you're looking at the pattern. Yes, you're looking at the trend. Yes, you're looking at the price action. That's one of the reasons why when I go through, give you guys all this updates one by one on all of these assets, I try to make sure we look at the trend, the price action, the pattern, and everything possible before I give you guys this. So if you are interested in things like that, look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below where you get all of this. Now, jumping back into the technical side of things. Volume is still good. It does look attractive. It's not bad. But in the short-term narrative, after such a pop, we kind of, played a lot with the sellers. I think around 100 million in shorts were liquidated with that push to the upside. So the market kind of need to rebalance itself. So most likely we're going to come back down a little bit before we actually run back up. But this is still the same. Nothing has changed. You look at this. I mean, you retest this range again and again and again and again, and that's staying there. You're now trending back to the upside. So the market does show you that you don't want to make a mistake here. This is something which we have seen in the past. We don't want to go mistaken. Say if you go back into the charts, if you go into different assets, you want to actually understand how these things have played out historically. It's important. In my opinion, I think that's really important. Say you come back, this is Ether chart. You come to this asset and you want to actually understand what this asset has actually done in the past. When you actually have this macro range of your accumulation, once you break that, you didn't actually directly go back up. You consolidated there for some time, you revisited the bottoms, then you went up. That's something which can happen here on a macro level. This is the accumulation which literally gave you the idea of what's happening. Your measured move is completed, but your trend just changed. Now, yes, it's a fact that you'll get all these volatility in the market where the market kind of suggests to you this is happening and it slows down for some time. But here that slowdown has been a long way. So what does that actually mean? That for me means that the market is in a reaccumulation phase and the next pop to the upside can be bigger than what it should be. Which means if your bottom is 15 and you think the price can actually go to 120 or 150, now, here it is actually showing you that it is possible because a lot of people were giving you the idea we're going to 10,000, 8,000, 12,000, that range. Instead, we're going to the upside. Now, we want to actually make sure you're not actually speculating too much on the hype side. How do you do that? You come on into one direction where you want to understand what the price is doing. Great. To be on the neutral side, looking at both ends, you're like, okay, this was a support, which we broke and then drop back to this level of historical macro support. Great. Now we are retesting that range. So that makes a lot of sense to say we do get a lot of resistance there. But at the same time, you need to understand the level which we actually hit today in Binance was actually 30,000. So if you actually look at the exchanges with the macro volume, you watch that we kind of went in and played out with a lot of volume. 30K hit, a lot of orders, sellers, kind of got kicked out. A lot of buys actually came in. So the market is rebalancing the supply and demand equation here. And whenever these kind of things happen, I mean, look at this for a moment. If you see that the RSI is trending higher, historically, what do you actually see in the price action? Because when the price actually starts to move this big, it continues that momentum. I mean, even when we are consolidating in the range here, we have actually done that. When you bounce, you do that. There's a 3-day chart, so 3 days, another 3 days, another 3 days. So you kind of go 9-10 days to the upside. You reach the resistance. You are now playing with that level. So yeah, unless we come back up to 31K and float with that level for some time, it is going to be a choppy way back to the upside. Now, what does this mean for XRP? That's our biggest question. You take the same time horizon, a 3-day chart. You want to understand what XRP is about to do and what's the possibility. What is the MACD showing you? You know, the first time it got rejected. The second time it's about to cross. So the first time it got rejected. Second time it is trying to cross back to the upside. Good, positive. Now, if you actually look at the price action side of this, candlestick actually shows you it wanted to go back up. It did show a reversal. You went a little bit back up, but this level of resistance kind of blocked that. You dropped back down, but you didn't go down here searching for new lows. Instead, you took a new low, which is higher than the last one. So that's a higher low. Great. Now, you want to see the price making a double bottom at least here and then bouncing back. So you break this, you reach back up to this range. That will show you some interest happening here on a short-term narrative. And as soon as that breaks, now, yeah, you're looking for something good. You're looking for something big in the price action because that's what we usually see. These kind of patterns emerge. They break to the upside. You do get volatility like this. This is something like what we have seen today in Bitcoin. So if you actually zoom in on this, you'll understand that yes, that was a major wick where you saw this amount of price fluctuation. But you didn't go back down from there. It didn't actually show you like there was a ton of sellers entering and pushing the price down. Yes, you went up, you hit a resistance. That kind of activated a lot of selling pressure. The price came back down and closed there. But look at what was the volume doing. It was still controlled by the bulls. So you don't want to go the other direction until and unless that candle closes with a red volume. Now, yes, during the day, you can see both of them fighting during that candle. While that candle is playing out, you'll still see both end playing out. But the understanding you need to know is who the hell takes control of the asset when that candle is closing. Right now, as we start the new day, you're watching that sellers are here. They're trying to dominate the market. We want to actually see is that the short-term traders who are getting out of this asset with this amount of pop. That's a big possibility. You cannot actually deny that as a fact. Now, what does that actually mean? If you look as a pattern trader, you're looking for what's happening here and you're saying like, okay, this kind of shows you may come back down here to test this range and go back up. And that matches with what you just talked about in the macro side. This is a pattern which we really want to see, and that is kind of something which the market is working on. Great. Now, if you actually go look at the Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin, you kind of get the idea. Each time when you bounce off, the price action gives you a clear understanding that Bitcoin price is moving up. Each time, you can actually put that kind of close and you'll see each time this is happening. And while the Bitcoin price is consolidating or the dominance is slowing down, you see all coins running up. So each time this happens, the momentum was increasing during this trend line. Then you broke down to the next range. But you came back down to this trend line, which was being supported. Now you are coming back down to that exact trend line and you're getting a bounce off. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's a trend line which you want to keep your eyes on. What does that mean? Say, if you had to look at this and say like, okay, this is Bitcoin dominance, that's kind of pushing the price to the upside. Great. What do you actually want to look at on the macro range? On Bitcoin price action, if you say okay, this trend line is now looking really valid on a macro, okay, fine. If you actually extend that, where should we come back to when we are coming back next time? You may pop through here, you may come back down. So somewhere around 35, 33,000 is going to be your next level of support. So for that to happen, you need to actually go to $45,000, $50,000 range first, then slowly consolidate back down to this trend line. Because at one point, you just leave that trend line alone saying bye-bye and you ride to the upside. You come back down to that trend line way later in that cycle. So you do have these kind of things playing out in the market. See, you extend this rally. You'll actually note like this was the trend line. It went up, you came back down. So the 1, the 2, and the 3, boom, it went up, right? Now, on the macro, if you look at this, you'll actually understand the fact that, okay, it is also playing out in a way like this, where you are now watching the 1, the 2, and the 3 is just starting. This phase of that first run up here is what I think is happening here on that horizon, which means you are actually about to watch a run up, which is going to be something like this. It can actually go up and then come back down. For sure, it's going to come back down. People talking about the stable coin price and XRP and other assets, it's not going to happen. You'll actually see price going up. That's how you get overvalued, and that's how you drop and then become undervalued. That's where the opportunity lies. So you want to understand what the market is and look for opportunities so that you can seize those opportunities. Because right now, when you actually see this as a fact, you now understand there's a lot of money coming into the crypto market. And generational wealth creation doesn't happen every now and then. You need to know the right assets. You need to buy them at the right price. You need to hold them till that moment where you have reached your goals. That is the hard part, because your goals now have to match with what the market can actually give you. If you buy 1,000 units of XRP and you want to be a billionaire, that's a hard part. You need to understand that. What's the expected price range? And for you to reach that target, how much XRP should you have? How much Bitcoin should you have? Depending on your target, you need to first understand this. Or the other way around, how much you can actually see in your portfolio now. 1,000 XRP, 10,000 XRP, a million XRP, whatever. And what's your targeted market? You're saying like, okay, $10, great. You're saying $20, great. That's your target. Now you want to make an exit strategy based on that, not just the hype and highly speculated amounts of price. And coming back, before we end on this, we want to actually give you the narrative here, understanding that the market is still showing you this. There is no change in that. The market is still trying to give you the idea that it is doing this stuff where it already made a higher high. Higher high and a higher low structure is not a bad thing to look at, and then it is holding on to this particular trend line. That is positive. You want to see a bounce here? That should push the price up like this. When the price is consolidating, that's where the opportunity lies. Again, when the price is consolidating, that's where the opportunity lies. That opportunity usually shows up as a double bottom or as a pattern, which shows you it's a consolidation and it's about to break higher. See, here was a double bottom before you started running up. You got that pattern, or a consolidation phase again with a micro double bottom. So if that's true, we are watching this. We've been talking about this for like last couple of weeks, and the price action is doing that. Now, in a lot of different assets, it is also doing the exact same. Just the difference is they're already running up. They're already coming close to your targets. You're already starting to take your profits. That's a different thing. So again, if you want these kind of updates on the right assets and the right time, look at this. Link is given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.